Good afternoon, church. Pastor Craig here. Once again, midweek greeting. Happy Wednesday to you. Well, we're in the week that's in between Christmas and New Year's, that awkward week of do you greet somebody with Merry Christmas or Happy New Year's? Well, it doesn't really matter because today's Wednesday, and I always greet you on Wednesday with Happy Wednesday. And so that doesn't change no matter what week it is. This past week we've been able to celebrate Christmas, and I trust that you've had a meaningful time with family in some form to be able to gather together. I know for our family, we were able to gather together via Zoom and open our gifts together and play some games together. There was a weird factor for me about Christmas Eve this year, which I'm sure everyone experienced a certain weird factor, but having a pre recorded service that we watched at home, I don't think I've ever been home on Christmas Eve as long as I've been working as a pastor. And the strange thing was watching myself preach. I almost put myself to sleep. That's probably not a good thing, is it? Well, that's just the reality, but I trust that the services were meaningful for you as we were able to gather together as a church family to worship together, both on Christmas Eve and then again on Sunday morning. And I trust that you've had meaningful times of celebrating with family. One other strange thing about this year was some of the gifts that I received. I actually got masks for Christmas gifts. In fact, masks that I'm pretty excited about. Everyone in my family got a Coca-Cola mask, as you can see by the shelf behind me. Yeah, I'm just slightly into Coke, and I think this is pretty cool. I got another one actually that's a pun in the form of a mask. It's got jaws on it, as in the great white shark, but I was told it's because it covers my jaw. You know, It was great to be able to get gifts, both serious gifts and fun gifts. But more than gathering for gifts, I hope that you had meaningful times of celebrating with family. I also hope and pray, though, that throughout this Christmas season, in a year when perhaps we've had more quiet time, more time to be alone with God, more time to just sit and read and pray and reflect, that you've encountered Jesus in a new way over Christmas. I was thinking about the shepherds a little bit. When we first hear about the shepherds, they're out in their fields keeping watch over their flocks by night, and suddenly an angel appears. And then a group of angels appear, and they're blown away by what these angels are saying to them. And after the angels leave, the shepherds say, "Let's go to Bethlehem and see this thing that has happened, which the Lord has told us about." When they first go to Bethlehem, they are going strictly for the purpose of seeing what they've been told about. They want to see this baby for themselves. They want to see that this is actually true. But after they have an encounter with Jesus, something changes. Because we're told in verse 20 of Luke chapter 2 that the shepherds returned glorifying and praising God for all the things they had heard and seen, which were just as they had been told. You see, when the shepherds had an encounter with Jesus, they went from simply looking for Jesus and hoping to see what they were told about to worshiping God and praising God for who Jesus is and for what he's done. I hope that over Christmas, you had an encounter with Jesus. That you had time where there was just something about the Christmas story that God's Spirit brought to your attention, and you went, wow. And you went from just seeing the story for what it is to actually praising God for who he is and what he's done. Really, we should be having fresh encounters with Jesus regularly. It's not just something that happens when we first become a Christian, but daily we should be having encounters with Jesus, where we go from simply looking for Jesus to actually experiencing him, living in the reality of his presence, and having his Spirit teach us new things and encourage us in things. My hope and prayer is that that's been your experience throughout this Christmas. And that as we gather together to worship on Sunday, it won't just be another time of gathering online, because that's what we're doing, but rather it will truly be a time of worshiping and celebrating who Jesus is because of the encounters that we've had with him over the last week. As we anticipate celebrating and worshiping together on Sunday, I do want to remind you that this Sunday is the first Sunday of the month, so it will be Communion Sunday. So you'll want to make sure that you have the elements ready for you and for your family. But as we go into this week, I'd encourage us once again to let's be the church God has called us to be. And part of being the church God has called us to be is experiencing Jesus in new ways each day. And so, my hope and prayer for us as we go into this week is that each one of us will have a fresh encounter with Jesus. And that when we gather on Sunday, it will be a time of worshiping and celebrating as a result of what He's doing in and through our lives. Have a great week, church. I look forward to worshiping with you on Sunday.